My friend is pregnant. My husband is convinced it's either his or mine.
Oh boy, a little confusion.
Trigger warning, there is pregnancy, loss, and miscarriages in the story. If you want to go to another one, please do that. But we're going to get into this one. Oh, daddy. Who's the daddy? Well, I tried to stay off social media, but I have no clue where to go since 3 people I would go to are the 3 people involved in this. Some background. Everyone's are their current ages. I, 42 male, have been involved with Gail, 42 male, since I was in my senior year of high school, and it became close. When he started dating his now wife, June, 43, I got even closer with her as we had way more in common.
Wait. So OP and Gail were romantically involved.
Romantically involved.
Okay.
42 male and 42 male.
Yep.
OP and Gail, and then there's the wife, June, 43
Okay.
female as well. By the way, this comes from a throwaway dumb decision. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddits. June was diagnosed with PCOS at 16 and was told she'd have a very low probability of having kids. Unfortunately, Gail also had fertility issues, so the chances of having children are near impossible. They've tried IVF 4 times, and every time they lost a baby sometime in the first trimester.
That is rough.
Yeah.
And also that process is not easy on the body.
Oh, it's like super hard on the body, just like the expectation and the heartbreak 4 times.
Yeah.
When I first started dating my husband, 48 male, I found out he worked in social work, and I got to ask about the adoption process, and he was very open about it. This is all info I passed on to Gail and June, but they still were trying to make IVF work, so they weren't interested at the time. My husband became fast friends with them, and after a few years, Gail and June decided on their own to adopt, so we helped them.
Oh, amazing.
That's great. They adopted 2 boys from a rough background. They love these boys, but they always wanted to raise a baby together. My husband and I also have 3 kids, around the same age that we adopted, but that's not important to the story at hand. Now that that's out of the way, here's even more context for the problem at hand. A lot of at hands. All of our kids are now in high school, and my husband and I's oldest is in college. We all found out we had a lot more free time on our hands, so we started hanging out more. We do game nights, movie nights, weekends away, etc. Also, shout out to like older into watching your kids and still like making the time to hang out. One night when the kids were gone, we all hung out. Being dumb, horny, wasted, or high on some stupid mixture of both and flat out stupid, we had the grand idea to all hook up.
All of them together.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, so it's the 3 guys and the 1 girl.
4 people now. So OP and his husband.
Yep.
And then Gail and his wife June.
Okay.
So we're just mass freaking orgy over here.
Wow.
While the kids are in high school.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So it is a full. That's a full on spit roast.
They're going for it, man.
All right.
All of us were pretty open, spicy sleep wise. So it was whatever. We had fun, so we all agreed we could very occasionally continue doing this with the permission of everyone's partners. We never did one-on-one with each other's partners, so I wouldn't call it polyamory. We didn't even do threesomes or foursomes, I guess. It was always one weekend every month or 2 where the 4 of us went on vacation together and kind of just all hooked up. I don't know what we were thinking, but we must stress we did use protection.
All right. Hey,
listen.
I like that OP's not saying like I'm a stress. Like he's like, we are coming today to
our
tell you.
polycule.
Yes.
Yeah.
They got a whole. It's group activity. You know, no one's left out. Sharing is caring.
You know, that's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing.
It's a beautiful
I
thing.
truly believe the strongest society is a society that all hooks up with each other.
Wow.
Truly believe that.
There we go, ladies and gentlemen.
Mm-hmm.
So, for the past few weeks, June's been pretty sick, yet it didn't seem to affect her emotionally at all. No matter how sick she got, she still wore a genuine grin, even if only slightly. Gail was also pretty happy as well. I thought it was weird, but my husband wasn't too fazed, so I let it go. That was until 2 days ago. June and Gail called us to a celebratory dinner, but said what we were celebrating was a surprise. Before we ate, Gail poured out the drinks, and I noticed that June wasn't drinking.
Oh, boy.
She started a new diet.
Oh, boy.
A diet that is young. I tried to think of a clever thing. Didn't work. Sorry, guys. Sometimes you shoot and sometimes you miss.
Hey, you know, a baby died.
But not these people.
We're trying over here. So I guess June noticed my staring and she started crying and happily and laughing, happy nodding, and confirmed that yes, she was pregnant.
Let's go. But whose is it?
But whose is it? Who's the father? Oh, this is like a Mamma Mia type situation.
Yeah, this is a Mamma Mia.
We got 3 boys.
Is that how Mamma Mia happened?
Yeah.
They all had a gangbang?
I also
No. Awkward following silence. Did you have any more you wanted to add?
No, you don't get those thoughts anymore.
Yeah.
It's just a question.
We're getting fast.
I haven't watched Mamma Mia in a while. So
I don't think you've ever watched Mamma Mia.
I don't think that I remember the opening scene, but if the opening scene is something like that.
The opening scene is them singing Mamma Mia.
Mamma Mia. Time to get down.
Yeah. Anyway.
Anywho, so she was a few weeks along, but they wouldn't announce it until she made it to the second trimester. I was ecstatic and quickly ran over to hug Gail and her, gently, of course. When I looked at my husband, instead of a happy face, he looked suspicious. The best face I can reference is that woman doing a math meme or the Futurama squint. He just looked accusing, not the normal reaction to friends being pregnant, especially given the circumstances. He then asked, "How far along are you again?" Very rudely, which is shocking because he never takes a tone with people. Gail and June started stuttering, June saying that she didn't know, while Gail was saying that it didn't really matter. My husband pushed the issue. They both then started getting very defensive, suddenly saying it wasn't his business. He said it was his business, as 9 weeks ago, aligned with something we all did together, a.k.a. the hookup.
Oh, boy. And again, as a reminder, the husband of the pregnant lady was infertile, or at least had swimmers that weren't swimming too well.
I think those are pretty relevant questions your husband's asking.
I think so.
We do not have Michael Phelps and Ryan Lochte on our, is that his name? On our swim group.
Yeah. No, they don't.
Lochte.
No, we don't.
They're not present.
Who can't swim?
Yeah.
I'll say bag of sand.
Old bag of sand didn't make it to Team USA this year. So they angrily punted us out the second we got into the car, we started fighting. And I mean, really having a go. He was fuming at me for not taking his side and asking, "Do you really not see the problem here?" Honestly, I don't see a problem, though. I don't think that June or Gail would hide this from either of us if one of us could have been the dad.
I don't know, man. How they're acting is suspicious.
Yeah.
I think they very well could be the dad.
It's like a huge lie of omission to just be like, "Oh, hey, we're pregnant," but it's like, "Hey, you're pregnant from around the time we all hooked up." So like you're kind of omitting that one of us very easily could be the father. Nilsson says some fertility issues can be helped, so maybe husband tried a new treatment or something. I mean, not to say that couldn't happen, but they did go through IVF 4 times. 4 times.
You're telling me he didn't try a treatment earlier than that before? Like, IVF is not cheap. It's like $12,000 per session or something.
I think it's like, of course it could be a possibility, but also it seems like they're totally discounting the fact that the other 2 guys could be
The timing is very suspicious. Also, she is 43, by the way. So just kind of an insane overall scenario. Like it's pretty miraculous, honestly, that she got pregnant that late given her previous issues.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. He said that they should have just confirmed that then if like one of them was the father or if there was anything suspicious. He believes the fact that they skirted around the topic and got angry was cause for concern.
I agree.
I think OP's being like very naive.
Yeah, I agree.
A little naive. Like it could be a case where they're still happy, but it's like, are they like chill with that? You know, they didn't ask of that.
Mm-hmm.
Which, if by some chance one of us was the dad, it more likely than not would have been me, as my husband is more preferential to me and Gail than June. He still does hook up with her during our vacations, so it's possible he might be the father, but not likely. I also don't see an issue if I was a father because Gail and I discussed with me being a baby juice donor in the past as I look quite a bit like June. When I explained that to my husband, he blew up saying he wasn't comfortable with the thought of me fathering someone else's kid, which I found ridiculous. We now have a huge misalignment here.
I don't think it's out of the question
Yeah.
to be a little uncomfortable with your partner fathering another kid.
I agree.
I think that is definitely a conversation.
It's obviously, I think, totally okay if the other person is like, people are donors all the time and have agreement and everyone's in on it. But yeah, that is like, is that going to be your child now? What does that look like? It does kind of bring up a lot of questions.
It complicates things. It complicates things.
Good to like have the discussion to like kind of like, get to the bottom of it.
Oh, interesting.
Whoa.
Nina Nelson says, PCOS people can get more fertile with age until menopause.
Whoa.
Interesting
Did
news.
not know that.
I did not know that either. Is it like you start off like super unfertile because of the PCOS at the time and it like gradually like kind of like releases its hold on the fertility kind of a thing? Little Benjamin Button type situation? Let me know.
Uterus is crazy.
Benjamin Button uterus. Let me know. But
I'm researching.
Producer Sophia is on the case. She will let us know when she finds it. That would be my decision, not his, and I would be supporting our friends. He then asked, what would the four of us do if he was the father? I think it's more important to mention now that my husband is Middle Eastern, darker skin, extremely curly dark hair, dark eyes, and very Middle Eastern facial features. Meanwhile, June and Gail are white, June being blonde, and Gail having light brown straight hair with very Eurocentric features. So it would be very obvious if he was the father, especially given he's the only person in their immediate group with those features. It doesn't help that June's family, specifically her mom's side of the family, is discriminatory, so any mixed baby she would have would face a crap storm in her family. I wonder how she feels about their orgy. I'm very curious.
Probably not great.
Probably doesn't love that.
Probably doesn't love this.
He pointed out that if we didn't get the paternity clear now and he was the father, it would look like he and June had an affair and we'd have to explain our hookups to all three families, June's, Gail's, and mine. That would be, I mean, you could just say they're a donor, which like, low-key could, I mean, it's like,
but I think it would be more fun to explain your hookups in detail.
Dude, just like, guys, look, we turned 43 and we're like, we got an orgy. That's what we need to do here. That would be mortifying for obvious reasons. I told him he was being ridiculous and selfish and that this was June and Gail's baby first and he was villainizing them when they had yet to be proven guilty. I mean, technically, if it is one of you guys' babies, it's literally one of your babies first, like from a biological perspective.
Yeah, I mean, I think OP is being way too dismissive here.
Yeah, like I think he needs to consider his partner's feelings. Like that is a shock, like I could see you need to process that. Yeah. That pissed him off. We had a screaming match the whole drive home. That continued when we got home. It didn't help that June and Gail fanning the flames by texting us that they didn't want to see either of us for a little while about how we ruined a good moment. Whew. While I don't blame them for being emotional, I just wish that they had just let it sit for the night. But it also falls on me because I was the one to use it against him in the argument. It all derailed into a fight about when and why I had agreed I would be a baby juice donor if they needed one without talking to him, which got me sentenced to the spare bed in my office for the past 2 nights and tonight as well, by the looks of it. Especially given this scenario, I feel like the legal default is Gail would not be the father of this child.
Yeah.
So he's like, oh, it's like their family, it's their baby, like it's them. But it's like, dude, unless you like take legal action, if it was you or your husband, one of you would legally be the father, be
like you're not a sperm donor.
Yeah.
You're just not. If that is your child, you had spicy sleep.
Yeah.
You're not a sperm donor. It's a totally different scenario.
Yeah. And like I feel like you could probably do the paperwork to essentially
to be like,
that.
Yeah.
But we're not there right now.
Yeah.
And husband's like, yo, like, what are the implications? He did not talk to me yesterday. In fact, we avoided each other, or he didn't put a note in my lunch like usual. I did try to make up with him at bedtime, but he was not interested in discussing anything with me quite yet, and he said he still needed time to get his thoughts in order. Today, he was petty enough to leave a note in my lunch, but it was only a reminder that he was still mad at me and that his packing my lunch didn't mean I was forgiven. He did not say that exactly. It was a heart-shaped note that said, F you, with a little angry face. Not the most mature, but okay. Still got a lunch, I guess. When you're so petty, you will still make lunch for someone to give you a little
to just give them a
petty
little
off. Yeah. We were distant and cold enough that our youngest felt the need to bring me my dinner tonight when I wouldn't come down and asked why we were fighting. Reminder, they have high school aged 3 children, at least one of them high school aged.
Yeah.
So yeah, those kids are definitely picking up like, yeah, what's going on?
What's going on with mommy and daddy? Or
going
sorry,
on?
daddy and daddy.
Yeah.
Our dad.
Double
Daddy
daddies.
squared.
I just soothed him by saying it was over dumb grown-up stuff. I can't stop thinking about it now, and though I trust Gail and June, they're acting extremely weird. I also know that a large part of this falls on me, as I didn't ever consider that my husband might care if I was a baby juice donor for them, even if theoretically. That seems to have hurt him the most in this bizarre make-believe situation, but I don't understand why.
I don't think it's that bizarre or make-believe.
Yeah, like, even if you don't fully understand it, why can't you just respect your husband's feelings and concerns and talk about it?
Yeah. Instead of shutting it down so immediately.
Yeah. I wouldn't care if he was their baby juice donor. Admittedly, I agree with him that if he or I was the father, I certainly would like to know sooner rather than later. Yeah, especially if my husband is, because I need to prepare for the crap storm if he is. Because he is right, I'm sure a lot of our family will question why they chose him over me, but I just feel there was a time and a place to ask that question. And I know June and Gail wouldn't hide that from us. It has to be Gail's, and this was a huge overreaction on his part. They both didn't tell you proactively, and then were kind of like shutting you down when you started.
Yeah, it's so
questioning around
suspicious. It's so suspicious.
But they did not make themselves look good. I don't even know what to ask for exactly. How to make up with my husband first and foremost about the baby juice donor thing. I know I messed up there, but does anyone have advice on how to handle the paternity situation as well? I'm sure they're innocent, but I don't know how to prove their innocence when they want space, and I don't want to wait 9 months for a paternity test because I don't want to keep having this argument over and over. Thanks ahead of time for any advice provided. We have a small edit update. We have more to the story.
Okay.
But ladies and gentlemen, and Sam.
Yes, that's me.
What do you think?
I think the couple that is having this baby is very suspicious, acting very suspicious. I think OP is completely oversimplifying and skimming over their partner's valid concerns. I think they need to have a deep talk about this. And I think OP's partner just needs to be heard in terms of finding out the truth, trying to establish some kind of contact with your friends. And saying like, hey, like, or that was a special day and I'm very happy for you, but like we have some, I think, valid concerns about this child being one of ours, and I just wanted to like know a little bit more about the timeline.
I feel like not saying that it's at this point where they should do this right now, but I feel like they could probably get like a court-ordered paternity test, especially with they probably have texts and stuff of them saying like, oh, we're hooking up, or like the
I think you could do that, but that it definitely is like a big escalation.
Not there yet.
Yeah, I don't think we're there yet, but like, I mean, it could go all the way up to that point. But it would be a lot.
Yeah, I think like you said, we first need to be like, hey, we have some valid concerns, and I think it's, fair to ask that you hear those out and we have a conversation about this. But we have a small edit / update, ladies and gentlemen.
I really want it to be theirs.
Ooh. I don't know which is the proper term, but we're getting into it. My husband is still upset, and so am I. Today was bad. Anytime we spoke, it led to a mini argument, admittedly instigated on both sides. We are annoyed with each other. I still think he's acting very self-centered when this should be a time of celebration for June and Gail. Something I don't even get to do with them because he made them uncomfortable. He's basically locked himself to the bedroom, and I'm writing this as I watch a movie with the kids. He's acting so oddly, and I don't know why. but I'm going to just give him space. And ladies and gentlemen, we've graduated from the small update to the big update.
Papa update. All right, I'm ready for big update.
Here we go. Who's the daddy? Let's see if we find out. So thank you for your patience. This has been a doozy of a week. Sounds like it. So I read all the replies and I responded to a lot too. I appreciated all the different perspectives. My husband and I did get to make up as best we could for right now, but our marriage was in a way worse spot than I even knew. I know I was pretty wishy-washy in the comments, but once we communicated, I understood. Reading myself back with his point of view in mind, I can see everything so much clearer. Apparently, he never wanted to be in an open relationship in the first place. In fact, he didn't even like me kissing someone else. So even the hookup, the group hookup before was crossed the lines. When I asked why he agreed to keep hooking up if he regretted the first one, he explained that he would do anything for me and that he'd do a heck of a lot for Gail and June too. So just like, I guess, people pleasing to the max. A lot of pleasing going on. So when all three of us wanted to continue hooking up, he didn't want to be the only one to say no and make everyone upset. So instead, he set boundaries that he thought would be enough, but weren't. He thought that he'd just get used to it, and he never grew okay with it. I think he also never came forward with the second or third or so hookup because the three of us were very open about how much we enjoyed it, and he always just smiled and nodded or shrugged until the subject changed. He didn't like how we all interacted with each other during or progressively after those hookups. Admittedly, I see how lines were getting blurred. While we never went one-on-one dates, we did jokingly flirt with each other, vocally and physically, something we did before, but now he said it felt like it had undertones after everything. So it's like maybe jealous that he's getting with Gail, you know, as a part of it too. He didn't like when Gail and June would flirt with him, and he especially didn't like when they flirted with me. That's when he also admitted he felt like he was competing for my attention and affection, which I didn't get why. I always thought I was pretty affectionate to him, but I guess I wasn't reassuring him enough. It's also possible that another new insecurity caused by the hookups, but it still feels awful to know my husband could ever think that I could love someone as much as him. Instead of talking about it with us, he just let it all stew, and he started to resent Gail and June. Then he just blew up, his words, not mine, and he admitted that wasn't fair and apologized. When I asked why the final straw was the pregnancy specifically, he admitted it was probably some culmination of his fears of this happening anyways, and the repercussions it would have on our friendship as a whole. Yeah, I mean, if he was uncomfortable with you hooking up with other people, then I could totally see why he'd be uncomfortable with you fathering their child.
Yeah.
And not knowing
he's
the
already
implications of
feeling like he's competing for love. Imagine if he has a kid with them.
Yeah, and I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, he didn't know that months earlier they had some kind of conversation where OP was open to the idea of being a donor. But I believe the husband wasn't privy to that conversation. No. I guess it didn't develop to that point.
No.
Here we go. So, and when Gail and June got dodgy about the exact date of how far along she was in her pregnancy, he assumed that they had manipulated this into happening. It really didn't help that it looked that way too. At some points, I was even considering that. He was also just extremely uncomfortable with the thought of me fathering someone else's child.
Yeah, I mean, again, this is like totally normal.
It's a valid concern. We don't need to judge the concerns. We can just listen first. We can have a conversation first. He then asked why I agreed to be a baby juice donor without telling him. I explained I didn't think about it when I first offered. And since Gail turned me down, I didn't think it was important. He informed me that he would never have even suggested that without talking to me first, and for me to not do the same felt like I didn't care about his feelings or his opinion in major decisions. This has been an issue in the past with me making big decisions / offering things without talking about it first, so I understand why he feels like this. I apologized and suggested we go to therapy individually and together. He accepted that easily, and we've gone in the past during our roughest patches, so it's not a taboo topic for either of us. It's just been a long while since we've gone. Now for the bigger post and probably why you're all here.
Whose baby is it?
Who is the father? Let's find out.
Who's the father? I want to know. Now, this is the tea.
So, after our talk, I helped my husband curate a text to June and Gail where he apologized for ruining their celebration dinner. He explained it in much less detail, what he told me about his insecurities over the change in our relationship, and he was sorry for letting his worries and pessimism get the better of him. They were pretty understanding and apologized that he felt uncomfortable with the arrangement. We all agreed to end it right there. That's the group hookups, by the way, which I can't convince my husband to not feel guilty over, but we're working on it. As for the paternity, and while the dates absolutely do line up, we all agreed it shouldn't matter right now, and we'd figured out whatever happens. Because there is a world where, like, Opie's like, "Oh, I'll be the donor," and everyone gets on the same page, and it's fine.
Yeah.
Like, I think there's definitely a world where it's fine. He's just a donor. We all knew this risk of sleeping together, and what mattered was June and Gail finally were having a baby. I think that soothed any remaining fears in Jewel and Gail because they admitted they refused to get specific about dates because they thought my husband was going to fight for custody. What do we think about that?
I mean, if it's his kid, he has the right to fight for custody.
Yeah.
If it's his kid.
Exactly. He just has the right to know. So it's like you can't withhold information from him.
It's kind of whack.
I get that you'd be afraid of that, but it's like, he's entitled to that.
He's entitled to that for sure.
You know, don't lie. Don't just say nothing. They asked to do a paternity test once she was deeper in the second trimester, maybe even the third. By the way, you don't have to wait as long as I was baking in my mom's stomach, which was 15 months, to get a near unlimited amount of incredible podcast episodes.
There's a lot.
There's a lot because you can go to Spotify, Apple, iHeart, and search OK Storytime and get an amazing catalog of, again, almost limitless podcast episodes for your listening delight.
Your heart's content. But John
and Sophia, I'm curious on quick closing thoughts from both of you before we get into this finale. This last little bit here.
I like I said before, I really think that OP's significant other is entitled to know if that's their kid or not.
Indeed.
And
I agree.
And the fact that their couple friend is trying to obfuscate that feels whack and suspicious.
What say you, Sophia?
I agree. I think there's a lot of, on OP's part, just a lot of, not really considering his partner's feelings. And then on the Gail and June's part, they're being sneaky and weird about it.
It's getting sneaky.
I want the DNA test.
Yeah, I want a DNA test too.
Where's the DNA test? Where's the paternity
test?
test?
Give it to me.
I think we're about to get it.
Where is McQueen?
So things are extremely awkward, and honestly, I don't think they'll get any better for a while. My husband is still very uncomfortable around June and Gail, no matter how many times we all try to reassure him that no one's upset with him for ending the hookups and that no one's upset about his reaction. He's just distanced himself for now. I don't know what else to do with the situation, but I think we just need to spend time away from them and maybe even a little more space from me as well. Just to build himself up a bit more beyond our relationship, I also know that Gail, June, and I feel bad. We never noticed how uncomfortable my husband was, but he always said that he was fine, and being that shyness to spicy related situations matches his personality, it made sense, but we should have just stopped. I just wish he had told us, but I can see why he didn't lie. It was just a crappy situation. I don't wish we didn't all sleep together because it's entirely possible that's what led to June finally getting pregnant, but I wish things didn't end like this, with everyone just feeling sad and guilty. I know there's no quick fix here. I want to go back to normal. I have to ask for more advice, but if there are any more ideas you all might have on how to make this less awkward,
it's not going to be that awkward, or it's not going to be. It's not going to be easy for it to be not awkward. This is a weird situation. I think you just got to wade into the awkwardness.
Absolutely.
And hope for the best.
Yeah, hope for the best. I think, again, I feel like you can get a donor type relationship legally locked in. You kind of get what you want. OP, the family is out of everyone's hair. It's as uncomplicated as possible, and that's it. I think that's all you can do.
That's all you can do. But I'm curious what y'all think OP should do.
But I'm also curious to hear this next story.
I refuse to recover at home after surgery because my husband prioritizes mother.
No, don't do that.
I, 29 female, am really disappointed with my husband, 30 male, and furious at his mother, hag-aged female.
Dang. That's rough. That's original, though. Never seen that before.
Sorry this is so long. And throwaway for privacy. So, for context, my husband is from the West Coast. Let's go. Where his mother still lived. He moved to the East Coast for college, and that's where we met after graduation. And in the start of our relationship, she would visit 3 to 4 times a year and make him take PTO so he could entertain her throughout her visit. By the way, this comes from Puzzle-Headed Tooth 25.5. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So, after 2 years of this, while we were still dating, I asked him how we are ever meant to go on vacation together if his PTO is spent at home with his visiting mother. We agreed to save PTO for a trip to Europe we took in 2023, and he agreed to tell his mother he couldn't take off from work every time she visited. In my last job, I was able to work from home 4 days a week, and every time she visited, she sulked all day like a puppy who's had their toys taken away. But once my husband came home, a switch flicked and she was happy and clingy again. So here's the issue now.
Are your eyes open? You're reading it like this. Here's the issue now.
Sophia coming in hot with the notes today.
Your eyes are full closed.
My eyes are open.
They're not.
They are. Husband. I just have eyes like that.
No, you don't.
I do.
You have to open your eyes.
I am. Husband and I moved states about 6 months ago, closer to my family. I have a new doctor who recommended me for a surgery that my old doc kept putting off. It's not a complicated procedure, and it will greatly increase my quality of life for decades. My mother-in-law decided she's due for a visit.
The walls of eyes.
All right.
Your eyes are fine. Stop doing
My mother-in-law decided she's due for a visit and wants to explore our town, and she'd come to help around the house while OP recovers. I'm going to be out of surgery and in pain, and I really don't want to put up with her energy. However, we agreed with my husband, saying this isn't a sightseeing visit.
Not here to see sights with our eyes.
No, we're not. She's here to help out, cook, clean, laundry, so I can rest and recover. She can come for a proper visit later in the year. My husband dropped me off at the hospital on Wednesday. It was meant to be surgery, then one night overnight at the hospital for observations. On Thursday, the doctor told me my labs were not where he'd like them to be, and I should stay another night for observation and new lab work in the morning. I called my husband and told him that I'd hopefully be home the next day over the phone early afternoon. He did not visit on Thursday at all.
We are not going to make it through this story. Okay. We have to lock in as a team.
Lock in.
As a family.
As a family. We're locking in.
I'm ready.
My eyes are open.
Yeah, I know.
Look at those beepers.
All right. So on Friday, I was discharged and called my husband to tell him I'd be ready in about an hour. It went straight to voicemail, and I figured he's probably in a meeting, and I'll try again in a little bit. After calling a few times over the course of the hour, I called my sister, who was lucky enough to be excused from work for the afternoon. Many thanks to her understanding boss. She drove 90 minutes to get me and took me home, and the house was in shambles. Laundry baskets on the dining room table. The litter box not cleaned since Wednesday morning. Days of dirty plates in the sink, etc. And I just broke down crying. She packed me a bag and took me to her apartment to recover for 2 weeks. On Friday night, my husband called me asking me where I am and that the hospital said I was already discharged. He had been on a hike with his mother and there was no cell service, so he missed my calls, which also meant he took PTO for his mom's visit again. Obviously, I can't ban him from taking PTO, but wouldn't you rather spend that freed up time with your wife at the hospital instead of on a date with your mom?
Man, what kind of date with my mom?
I mean, it was
Is it
a
good
hiking
food?
date.
Nature. I like nature. And my mom.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, also you're asking him to choose between the nature and the hospital.
That's a
Like,
tough choice.
why would I go spend time with you in a hospital? That's boring.
When I can go out there, breathe the
in.
fresh, clean air, see some trees.
Yeah.
There's no trees in a hospital.
There's no trees.
God.
I'm trying to live life and breathe air and know somehow I'm
Thank
going to
you.
get there
Yeah.
and have life be so wonderful. I'm going to go on that hike.
Mm.
Bump, bump. I told him that I no longer feel comfortable recovering in our house and I won't be returning until it's thoroughly clean and his mother is gone, the dirtiest wench of them all. He's calling me the a-hole because his mother just wanted to get to know our new area and I wasn't able to leave the hospital anyway and that I was making a big deal out of this. I yelled that he essentially abandoned me at the hospital and entertained someone whose being here was to help make recovery easier, not more stressful.
True.
And that she was here for support, not on a vacation, not to make things
So much harder. I mean, like,
so much harder.
Yes.
she leaves them with this like pigsty, and then now is like getting OP's husband on her side, so that OP has no one supporting her after she just had surgery.
Yeah. And the whole point was like, oh, I'll cook, I'll clean, I'll like
Yeah.
do everything.
She's not doing any of that.
Yeah.
You're doing nothing. You're making it worse.
She don't cook, she don't clean. Maybe it's just the pain and pain meds, but am I wrong here? Is this a stupid hill to pass away on? There's part of me telling me just to visit a divorce lawyer to see what my options are because I'm not sure this will ever change. I know this is going to sound incredibly selfish, but I want kids. But I now don't see myself having any with my husband in the foreseeable future. And if this isn't going to work out, I don't want to spend the next 5 years of wasting time and money on therapy and missing a chance to find someone I actually can start a family with, someone who can be a committed father and husband before he's a son. Many thanks to anyone who's read all of this. And we do have comments. We do have an update. We are less than halfway through.
Wow.
John, I want to know what you think, but I'm also going to take out my contacts and put on glasses so I'm not Squinty McGee.
Big eyes Sam. Yes, so I think that it's very clear that the husband is not at all siding with his partner in life, his wife, that he's chosen to be with. And it's insane to me that he basically abandoned her. Was it while she was in the hospital that they were doing the hike? It's kind of sounded like it.
Yeah, I think so. I'll double check that.
Yeah. So we'll double check on that. But like at any point, you know, before, during, after, it's like, okay, why are you going on the hike with the mom? You're clearly not communicating or getting the check-in or okay from her. She needs you right now. And the whole spiel to let mom stay was like, oh, she'll actually like help and cook and clean and stuff. But she's doing the opposite.
It
Talk to me.
seems like, from what I'm reading, it seems like the husband like calls her and is like, hey, where are you? Because they said that you were discharged on Friday. And is like, I'm going on a hike with his mom, so I didn't know where you were.
So, okay, so it's like.
Yeah, so she's been with her sister. She's been
Okay.
recovering with her sister, but like she was discharged from the hospital and had her sister pick her up because he was on a hike with his mom.
Yeah.
with no
that's
service.
Crazy. Yeah, he's like, there's no service. Babe, how am I supposed to see the trees when. it doesn't have service?
Sorry. So she was discharged. He didn't pick up. She gets her sister, and then he's like, where were you?
Yep. What are you doing, brother? So yeah, I think he needs to drop his mom and maybe maybe go to ask OP and be like, hey, I'm so sorry. Like, how can I be some more supportive now?
If he doesn't drop his mom, his girlfriend's going to drop him.
Uh-oh. Sounds true.
So, comments. You know you're crazy, says. He left you alone in the hospital. He went somewhere without self-service when he knew you were being discharged. He didn't call you back until that night, hours after you were meant to be discharged. This man is ridiculous, and that is unforgivable. Let his mom have him. You are not overreacting thinking about divorce, and you are definitely not the a-hole. And Lemon Cake says this. Being unreachable while your wife is in the hospital is despicable. But he must have had missed calls and messages from her because she called him when they wanted to discharge her. Did he not have effing voicemails from her that said, hey, babe, where are you? They want to discharge me. I need you to come pick me up. And he never called her back? And the alienated penguin said it is despicable and unforgivable. Then the house on top of it. I don't think I could come back from that. Beth21286 says he's her next of kin. Who was going to make medical decisions if there had been an emergency or she required further surgery and couldn't consent? This man isn't worth the carbon he's made from.
I've never heard that. That's a wild way
great.
To say that.
And Ike Bedenkin says, what the flying F? He is an a-hole. His mother is the a-hole. You are not an a-hole. No, I didn't fall in caps lock. I'm mad, not the a-hole. Additional, this is not a stupid hill to pass away on. You're passing away alone on that hill because your husband will be hiking with his mother around the hill and ignore you. Go and see a lawyer. He left you when you needed him most. And judgment is not the a-hole. And we have an update. 1 month later, John, are we feeling good about this relationship?
Not at all. I think we need to clearly communicate, like, hey, you know, not being there, like, here's all the thing that's wrong. Again, mom, we need to put a lid on mom because she seems to like come in and just do something like, oh, let's go on a hike. I wonder if she intentionally invited him on the hike during the surgery.
I think she's actively trying to sabotage the relationship.
She
wants her little boy toy.
I mean, that commenter, I didn't even think about it. That commenter was like, he would be her next of kin. So I guess has like decision making power. Like, what if something happened to her? And like, if the mother-in-law is the one that like instigated that, and oh God, terrible. Pretty bad. But luckily, John, we don't have to just exist in suspense about this one. We can go straight into the update. Let's dive right in.
All right. So update 1 month later. Hi, all. I posted a month ago about my husband basically abandoning me at the hospital to entertain his visiting mother. I thought I'd post an update. We're done.
Oh.
I'm still at my sister's place, and my boss is letting me work remotely to the commute, but I have an apartment I'm moving into in July that's a 10-minute drive from my job. Thank you, everyone who responded. It was a bit overwhelming. I went into defensive mode and thought I put my husband in a bad light, but you all really slapped the rose-colored glasses off me. We spoke on the phone every day the first week I was away. He asked his mother to leave ASAP so I'd feel comfortable coming back home. After a week, I told him I still needed space and I was coming the next day to grab more things. Once he saw that I had an empty bag and my sister brought 2 empty pieces of luggage, he realized I'm taking a lot because I'm not planning to come back soon. He asked to talk, and I figured we should get it done and over with. I told him we needed to separate. He tried to argue that his mother only visits a few weeks out of the year and that things are great otherwise. I told him that the issue is he expects me to be okay during those weeks with him, ignoring my feelings to cater to hers. I said things don't magically go back to normal. Once she leaves, there's resentment towards him for weeks for him doing it again, and self-hatred for me allowing it to happen again. He asked to go back to couples therapy. I told him it didn't work last time. We had a great therapist who helped him put boundaries in place and to be able to deliver consequences when his mother overreached. But as soon as she arrived, she'd break one boundary, he'd let it pass, and then she had carte blanche to step on all of them.
Ooh, we don't like that.
Yeah.
We don't like that kind of stuff.
You know, I also, it's not that the mother is visiting, a few times a week and he's spending time with her. It's that he is letting his mother stomp all over the boundaries. Like, it's fine to have your mom visit and spend time with her, but it's not fine to leave the house an absolute pigsty. It's not fine to abandon your wife while she's in the hospital. It's not fine to just let your mom walk over your entire relationship. And I think that's exactly what he's done.
Well said. I mean, and again, if she was actually like cooking, cleaning, like doing what she said in the beginning of the story of helping out, OP would probably like, hey, bring her over more.
Mm-hmm.
Like, let's have her as much as we can. So, yeah, bro, you are not getting it.
But yeah,
Not
she's a
respecting your wife.
terrible house guest. And when I tried to reinforce them, I get no support and I'd be the bad guy. Here's where I may have been a bit mean, though. I told him I'm turning 30 this year and I want to start a family, but I can't see starting one with him. If he can't put me first when I'm just out of surgery, why would I think he'd put our children first? I reminded him that his mother is retiring in less than 10 years. What happens when she decides she's frail and lonely? I asked him if he'd move her in, whether I was okay with it or not. He replied, I'm all she has. It really hit me then. This was not the life I thought we were building together. It was not the life I wanted or could settle for. He asked if he was really that bad of a husband. I sort of lied and said no, but you're just not the husband I need.
I mean, because basically it's like, this is referring to like him like not showing up to the hospital, totally ignoring. I mean, I think it is a lot fairer in this specific context to tell him like, hey, you know, you messed up. You weren't by my side. You didn't call me. And I think that's good and fair feedback to give to him as well. So
I also like with the idea of the mother moving in, that is a common thing for people to do, to have their moms move in. I mean, especially like in other cultures and such. But you guys both have to be on board. You can't be on board. You can't just be moving someone in with or without their permission.
Can't shove your mom down someone else's throat.
No, you can't.
Can't do it.
And so if this is not the life you want, don't eat it.
Stop living it.
Stop living it. Throw it out.
Not for you.
Get it out of here. I told him he either needs a wife who's okay with being the side piece in his relationship with his mother, or no wife at all. Whew.
Dang.
I left with my sister, and 10 minutes into the ride back to her place, his mother called me. I sent it to voicemail. I started laughing, and my sister asked what was so funny. I said the first thing he did was call his mommy and tattle on me for leaving.
Yep.
Papers have been served, and it's pretty amicable so far. Fingers crossed. And there are some comments.
Oh.
Anonymous Head 123 says, good for you for standing up for yourself. A little throwaway said he called his mom immediately. Congratulations on ditching that loser baby man boy. Cicada Noises says, if OP needs any other indicators that she did the best thing for herself, this detail right here. Nosy Bystander says, he already has a wife. Her name is Mommy.
Hey.
Feisty Plankton 775 says, yep, he's a great husband to Mommy and a crap one to OP. I mean, that's where that story ends, John. But like, do you think OP put down the right boundaries? Do you think it was too harsh? Do you think it was not harsh enough? What are your thoughts?
I mean, she basically said like, hey, I don't want your mom around, right? And it was only with the mom being like, oh, I'll cook, clean, and like be a help that she like acquiesced to it, right? So I think that was a good boundary initially that they just blew past. Alicia says, I'm leaving you because you can never put me first. Then immediately he calls his mom.
Alex Thompson says, your mother can still be important to you, but the second you throw your wife under the bus, you no longer deserve her. I think that was another huge issue that we had is OP and her partner agreed on boundaries.
Yes.
That they would enforce together. And as soon as the mother transgressed one of those boundaries, OP's husband did not support OP in like reaffirming those. Like yes. I think that shows what side of the team OP's husband is on.
Yeah, he'll give you lip service and not respect what you guys decide as a team together, and not like specifically uphold for like your well-being, right? So yeah, pretty cut and clear case of a mama's boy
and dry. I think it was important to set him free. cut them loose.
Yeah, OP did the right thing.
Yeah, but that is where that story and this episode ends.
No, don't do it.
I'm going to do it.
No.
I'm doing it. I'm doing it. So if you love us, make sure to subscribe.
We love you.
And see you tomorrow.
Oh.